Ladies and gentlemen, I said welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Alicia. 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 My name is Alicia. 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 The other sounds that you're hearing are from Siddiqui. Siddiqui. We are acute inflections, a duo of voice and upper bass, dub bass, string bass, contra bass, standard bass, but not the cello, not the cello. I hope you're ready for us to let's plan your wedding event. I hope you're ready for us. Let's plan your wedding event, hosted by Opulence Events by Gracie, Say hosted by Opulence Events by Gracie, yes, by Gracie. We're gonna begin with this tune, yeah. Let's begin with a little bit of jazz. Ooh, never know how much I love it, never knows how much I care. When you put your arm around me, I get the fever that's so hard to bear. You give me fever when we're kissing, fever when you hold me tight. Fever, yes, in the morning, fever all through the night. Well, everybody's got the fever. That is something you won't know. Fever isn't such a new thing. Fever started long ago. Well, it's a marvelous night for the moon dance with the stars up above in your eyes. A fantabulous night to make romance meet the cover of October skies. And all the leaves on the trees are falling to the sound of the breeze that blow. And I'm trying to please the calling of your heartstrings that play soft and low. And all the night's magic seems to whisper in hush. And all the soft moonlight seems to shine in your blush. Can I just have one moment dance with you, my love? Can I just make some more romance with you, yes, my love? Ooh, can I just have one moment dance with you, my love? Can I just make some more romance with you, yes, my love? Ooh, now you listen to my story. Here's the point that I must make. Chicks supposed to give you fever, be it Fahrenheit centigrade, they give you fever. When you kiss them, fever when you live in love. Fever heart, this is oh, what a lovely way to burn. Whoa, what a lovely way to burn. What a lovely way to burn. Marvelous night for that moon dance, yes, a lovely way to burn. Enjoy the show.
Everything is going so well so far. Welcome in, everybody, to the Let's Plan Your Wedding event that is fired up and powered by Opulent Events with Gracie. She's been doing a wonderful job. This is going to be so great. This is the evening time. Come join in with us. Let's give it up wherever we are. Clap your hands right in the comments. Let me see some hands clapping for acute inflections. They gave us wedding fever, if you will, for tonight. They are a New York sultry duo. They are led by a former Broadway singer. You know how she gave us the red on tonight. They say on the Wiz, I wouldn't be called dead red, but she gave us the red, and she was drop dead gorgeous in it. They can usually be found entertaining their clients like United Nations and Mercedes-Benz at high-end events all across the country. Okay, let's tell you about me a little bit here. If you're meeting me for the first time, I am Queen Afton Williams, born and raised in the beautiful city, the vibrant place that is known as New Orleans, Louisiana. Born and raised there, love it. I'm currently residing in Atlanta, Georgia, but will come to you wherever you are, host your great event, or give you some management through my company, Royalist Management, where we help to manage people's personal, private, and business affairs through the structure of organization and administrative execution. I would love to help you further your mission and your vision and lock arms with you every step of the way. Yes, I am the reigning Miss Royalty International Georgia, but I'm going for the national title in July as Miss Royalty International. I hope to represent well. We are going to have a magnificent time. I have so many other things that I am doing, but today I am your royal room shaker, and we are going to keep this great event moving, fired up, and ready to go, giving you a wealth of knowledge and beautiful information to help you further other people's wedding day or to make your wedding day the most special one it can possibly be. We're going to talk about wedding trends in 2021. Okay, entertainment ideas during COVID and thinking bigger than your wedding as it gets smaller. As Gracie would say, get outside that box. Think outside the box is what we want to help you do. If the ladies are ready, I would like to introduce them so that we can get on with our panel discussion. First up, we have Jacqueline Watson, who might be my sister from another mister. Who knows, because Watson is my family's maiden name. She is from Jacqueline Watson Events, known as JWE. She's the principal planner for luxury weddings and a leader in the industry. Everybody welcome Jacqueline Watson. Yes, indeedy. And then we have Morgan Childs with Modern Elopement. Elopement is not a bad word. It's something really awesome, and I'm sure Morgan will be able to expound upon it. She is called the elopement expert and named top wedding planner in Hawaii by both Destinations I Do and Modern Luxury Magazine. And then we have Julie Danilov. Now, Julie, I hope I said that right. I want to say correct me, Julie, if I'm wrong, but I think it's Danilov. She's the co-founder of A2D2 Aerial Dance Cirque, and she is also a proud independent regional vice president with Arbon International. In addition, Julie is a serial volunteer, lending a hand with the current MPI Toronto PD committee. Welcome, Julie. Hello, all of you. It's so good to see your shining and smiling faces. Let's dive right in because we are so excited already. Let's keep up the momentum. So here we go. This is a question for everybody here. 2021. Is there really any change in the experience for a wedding? Anyone can chime in. Let's hear what you got.
I'm happy to start. I think there is a change in the experience. I think that we've all kind of had a whole new circumstance given to us with COVID, and it's made us think. It's made us take a step back, and it's made us reevaluate what we are doing and how we are doing it. And I think because of that, when we do weddings, they are more intimate. They are more personal. They are more towards setting goals for each individual person that comes to that wedding and making it so that those people really are completely and 100% immersed into everything that that bride or that groom is doing.
Yes, absolutely. Tailor making it. Go ahead, Morgan.
Yeah, I was going to agree. Absolutely. It is a little different, and we have to just embrace that and go with it. And whether that means, adjusting what you were planning originally, something smaller, something more intimate. Certainly, I think everyone's understanding the value of making it personal and meaningful. And that's something I think is a wonderful thing.
Totally. And yes, I have to definitely chime in with the ladies and just say, you know what, true love conquers all. And whatever the ultimate end product looks like, if you are with the person that you want to be with, you are joined in union, and you have a celebration that you love, oh my gosh, it can just be absolutely spectacular. So COVID or no COVID, true love conquers all.
Indeed. So everyone, let us in on the big secret, okay? What's really trending big today that bridal couples should know about and maybe don't?
I actually have something that is a good thing that has come out of COVID, and that's the creation of pods. Before we had cocktail parties and everybody was mixing and mingling, and you put 150 people smack dab in the middle of a lawn. And one of the biggest things that came out of this was all these little intimate vignettes that we've been able to create and customize for all of our couples. And it's here to stay. I absolutely love it. I have so much lounge furniture that I have rented this year for my couples that it is not funny. I've never rented that much. And we are so excited for this one piece, this one little piece that really has made a really great splash and taught us all a little something.
Wonderful. Yes, I love it. They call it igloos time. Mm-hmm. You can put your igloos here and there and really have something new, something fresh. Go ahead, Morgan.
Yes, I love that as well. I would add that one of the things that is so exciting to me, because of course I love small weddings and intimate weddings, but that couples are realizing that all weddings don't have to look the same. And whether that is a larger wedding or a small wedding, there's more formats that we're seeing popping up. People are choosing to do maybe an intimate ceremony and then have a big party. People are choosing to do something like a pop-up wedding experience or do an adventure elopement on their own or a destination affair. I think it's just really opened couples' eyes that they don't have to do the same thing their parents did or their friends did. They could do something that makes sense for them.
For sure.
I love that so much. And I think that's such a beautiful point, Morgan, because really it should be a reflection of the couple at the end of the day, right? So whatever you do ultimately, and it's so great because we do have an unprecedented time. So we can have unprecedented weddings. Why not? And it will be something to look back on and just reflect on how we were able to innovate and create and still execute something that was just so perfect for the individual. So very exciting times.
For sure. We know that aerialists look beautiful outside. So that's such a great concept that will keep us safe as well as socially distant with some dazzle in the air. We love that. So Morgan and Jacqueline, what do you have to say about micro events when people are so used to having these really big weddings, and why?
Go ahead, Morgan. I'll go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm the girl that loves the ultimate big party. I'm not a huge fan of micro weddings. Not to say that there's nothing wrong with them. I have 4 in the books right now. However, given the opportunity, I would absolutely go big. And it's just one of the things I think we're going to see, like a 50-50 split. We're going to see all these little intimate micro weddings happening. But at the same token, I think we're going to see pretty even amount of big weddings of 200 plus happening once we're back in this, because it's been almost 2 years now where nobody's been able to have a micro wedding or a big wedding. So I think both are going to come back. And I think the micro weddings are going to come back in a really big way in way of design. Like people are going to be able to customize every little detail from the design to what people are going to eat and how they are going to eat it with a micro wedding. And I think that's going to be something that we'll see in the future.
And Morgan, when you chime in, can you give us a definition for micro weddings, just in case anyone's unclear?
Yes, absolutely. The way that I like to define a micro wedding is actually 30 guests and under. There are differing views in the industry that say 50 and under. I personally say 30 because I think that 50 is just a small wedding and you probably want to do the same things as if you had 150 guests. So it can vary a bit, but definitely 30 and under is what a micro wedding should be categorized as. And I think, Jacqueline, you have that totally right. I really think that what the beauty of this is that there were many couples who were doing micro weddings and intimate weddings previously. They just didn't really know it was an option. And now couples know it's an option. So there are going to be couples who absolutely want the big, huge blowout affair, and they should do that. And then there's couples who are thinking, I never wanted that, and I didn't know a small thing was an option. So now that it's an option, that's what we want to do. So it really, I think, is just going to continue to grow.
Yeah, for sure. So Julie, what are some creative ways to entertain guests when you can't pack the dance floor at the risk of turning a wedding into a simple dinner party?
Yeah, that's such a great question. Thank you so much, Queen. And I think it really comes down to having conversations with your local entertainment and arts providers, because these are extraordinary musicians, aerialists, dancers, community groups, and they have not been able to do their art in person, in front of people for like basically it's going to be 2 wedding seasons coming up. I'm from Toronto, Canada. We're in a 3rd wave right now. Everything is completely locked down, right? So really and truly, it's one of those things where it really depends geographically where you're going to be. So having and connecting with those local artists, they are so brilliant and so good at what they do, and engaging those folks, or having conversations with your event planner, like these 2 amazing ladies on, all 3 of you on the screen right now. If you have a trusted event professional, ask them what they think, because your wedding is going to be different than your neighbor's wedding, than the person down the street's wedding, right? So it really does have to do with the couple. And I think it is very prudent, because as an entertainment provider in a major metropolitan, not to discount the idea that you can have a hybrid wedding, right? So for example, so in Toronto, Canada, we're so blessed. We have so many different people from all over the world, but just say half of your family or half of your guests are from Brazil. They're not coming over right now, right? So why don't you design a hybrid experience so that you could do something online with, the digital side, and have something that you can have with your guests in person with who is allowed, and of course, according to public regulations. So not discounting the idea of a virtual element or a hybrid component, certainly, and there are so many great ideas, which I'm definitely going to make sure I speak to specifically in my workshop, in the workshop session.
Perfect. I'm sure everybody's so curious to know what those great things are. This is for everybody. Is there any advice on how bridal couples can incorporate social distance practices into their wedding while keeping everyone happy? What COVID policies do you have in your services?
I think that there is a number of ways. Again, it goes back to those pods for like cocktail hour, and that's something that you can do. But a lot of people are finding out that we can actually make really cool layouts for the ceremony reception and spreading people out. So, the typical or the traditional row after row is no longer there anymore. Now we're getting creative, and we're doing 2 seats and then a space, and we're doing different levels of seating. So that's one of the biggest things that I see, and one of the biggest things that for me that you can do to make it different.
Yeah, I think that is, definitely something that's great. And it's so wonderful to see wedding professionals and planners coming up with such creative solutions for our couples to make sure that it still feels like a party, right? We're there to celebrate, and we want it to still be fun. We're not there with, a measuring stick trying to make sure everybody's far apart. We want to make it as organic as possible. So I think having a professional really help you incorporate those things is so wonderful. And, for us, just rethinking what you have to do at a wedding and what that means. And so maybe it is having your groups go to different areas at different times. Maybe one person is, a group is having dinner, a group is having some sort of cocktail or dessert experience. You really can just play around with the day. And I just like to think outside the box. And if we had no rules for weddings, which I don't think there really are any, that what would you actually do with that? So that would be what I would say.
Yeah, and I think certainly to add to both of what the ladies just shared, in Canada, we have something called CCOs and CCAs, COVID compliance officers and COVID compliance advisors. And even just spending the money to have an hour with an expert who can really advise on all of those items. I know that we have a very extensive duty of care in our SOPs and our standard operating procedures with our company. So when a performer goes on site, everything from the prep all the way to the actual execution to post-event and so on and so forth, all the sanitation practices, these are really important things that obviously you're going to want to become aware of, but then also be able to have those conversations with your planners, with any of your suppliers, so that you are looking after the duty of care piece on your side. And so making sure you have vendors like everybody on the screen here who really do have that all in mind, so that they've got your back, basically.
And I want to just add one more thing. I think that's really important that brides and grooms realize that they're probably going to get something from each one of us that tells them exactly what they need to do and how to comply, and it might even go to the extent of having them sign off on something to say, hey, you understand that you have to do X, Y, and Z, and you're not going to hold us, the vendor, responsible for that. So I see those things happening too.
Absolutely, indeed. And I think just as if we were shooting a movie, you can definitely place big signs around and say, hey, when you enter here, although we want it to be a COVID-free environment, come in at your own risk and those things, just so people can be aware. You can make it fun. It doesn't have to be, hey, when's the last time you got tested? But it can be fun and atmospheric. I think you were mentioning, Morgan, about putting people in certain groups. I feel like you can name the groups and let people really get interactive. What group are you in? Okay, I'm in that group. I'm a part of this. I'm a part of the pink group, brown group. And we're doing this, that, and the third. And people feel so welcome, and like they get a chance to participate in the ceremony as well, not just be a part of the celebration. So it gets to be so awesome. As we close, we know in a minute we're about to hear from Acute Inflections. They're going to return to perform again. But before that, I would like to thank Jacqueline Watson, Morgan Childs, and Julie, I'm going to say Danilov. Did I say it right, Julie?
You totally got it right, girl. You're good.
I love getting names correct. Thank you, ladies, so much for your insight and your wisdom. And we look forward to seeing you in your sessions. You are great. Be sure to book them for your next event. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Acute Inflections.
Hello again. So this next song, we would be remiss if we do not do this classic wedding tune.
Yeah, we've done it a few thousand times, but we're not tired of it at all.
No. Heart beats fast, colors and promises. How to be brave? How can I love when I'm afraid to fall? For watching you stand alone, all of my doubts suddenly goes away somehow. One step closer, I have died every day, waiting for you, darling, don't be afraid. I've loved you for 1,000 years. I love you for 1,000 more. standing right in front of me. Every breath, every hour has come to thee. One step closer. I have died every day, waiting for you, darling. Don't be afraid. I've loved you for 1,000 years. I love you for 1,000 more. All along I believe I will find you. Time has brought your heart to me. I've loved you for 1,000 years. I love you for 1,000 more. One step closer, 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 one step closer. I have died every day, waiting for you, darling. Don't be afraid. I've loved you for 1,000 years. I love you for 1,000 more. And all along I believe I will find you. Time has brought your heart to me. I've loved you for 1,000 years. I love you for 1,000 more. So keep us in mind for your special day. No matter where it may be, we'll come to you and we'll customize your first dance, your walk down the aisle, your procession, or whatever you'd like to be customized. We'll do that for you. We'll even match with your color scheme too. And be, yes, there may be a wedding that might get Sadiq to wear a pink tuxedo.
Yeah, we just had a request for a pink tuxedo and a pink base, and we turned it down. So there are some limitations. I'm not doing that.
We're not painting the face, but we will at least.
I might wear a pink bow tie, or
Yeah,
we're
we'll
going to negotiate.
Find a compromise. Keep us in mind, yes, for your special day. We'll come back real soon with another special tune for you. So see you in a bit. Enjoy the rest of the expo. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. It's so lovely to see you here, and I am so very excited to be with you this evening. Thank you so much for taking your time, and my promise to you is that I'm going to give you value for being with me this evening. So once again, my name is Julie Danilov, and I am a CSEP, and I am also one of the co-founders of A Squared D Squared Aerial Dance Cert Company based out of Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. And I am so excited today because we're going to be talking about entertaining ideas for your wedding celebration. And so it's going to be a little bit different probably than what you're used to, but there's definitely lots of information in here that I am going to impart. And what I would just say and preface this whole discussion with you is I just want to say I'm going to give you a buffet of choices. So when you walk into a buffet, Do you eat every single thing that is presented to you? No, right? You're going to pick and choose the things that may be appealing and so on and so forth. You'd never go through the whole buffet and eat absolutely everything. It's the same with this. So I'm going to be sharing with you some entertaining ideas, things that are great for virtual events, hybrid events, and also in-person event friendly. Totally depending, of course, on where you are, where your wedding is happening. You're going to have consultations with the local folks in your actual area where these events are taking place, 100%. But having said this, I hope some of what we've shared with you today is going to be able to give you some ideas. So whether you are speaking with us because we're the ones that you've engaged for your wedding entertainment, or you're speaking to your local entertainment provider, just definitely a buffet of ideas for you today. So we have, let me just explain a little bit about A Squared D Squared before we jump in. So A Squared D Squared Aerial Dance Cirque Company was founded 12 years ago by myself, Julie, and my two amazing sisters and business partners, Elisa and Samantha. And we absolutely love the arts and entertainment world. In fact, we were raised by two musicians, if you can even imagine. So that beautiful musical interlude that we just heard from Acute Entertainment, that was our household when we were growing up. We had actually jazz musicians as parents, and they always worked the wedding market. They also did lots of large scale shows, corporate events, everything from orchestras to festivals and everything in between. So we were in an entertaining family, to say the least. And because of that knowledge and background, it really felt it prepared us to enter into the live events market as circus professionals and dance experts. So those are our areas of expertise ourselves. And we just really are committed to making ordinary events into extraordinary experiences. We are the people that when you show up at an event, you truly get the experience. And so it's really special because we like to call them sort of centerpieces or just focal points or inflection points in the wedding that make it so special and so beautiful. And people remember those types of moments forever. And of course, moments are absolutely priceless. So let's jump in to some of these entertaining ideas that can help you up-level your wedding in the pandemic, post-pandemic, in the coming years, what have you. Here are some of our top favorites. So first and foremost, aerial hoop. Aerial hoop is an absolutely gorgeous apparatus. Typically, an aerial hoop performance lasts anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes, usually the perfect apparatus or the perfect cirque entertainment piece for people, either in between speeches, either as an opener or a finale or a close. I mean, we can do so many things. I actually have several hoop slides for you to see the different usages of this specific apparatus. Now, the amazing thing is it's already COVID friendly, right? So usually you'll have 1 or 2 hoop artists that are on the stage at any given time. So this is amazing because it's either a solo or a duet. It's funny because actually all of our duets in A Squared D Squared have been sisters, so same household and all of that, so all good. Or they're in their same bubble. So really at the end of the day, it's a very COVID friendly act because it really minimizes the amount of people involved. As you can see on here, this is great for in-person events. It's amazing for hybrid. We definitely have lots of hybrid activations, and then virtual events. Now, let's not forget about the very real possibility that you're going to want to very likely consider a virtual component to your wedding, which is going to make it hybrid. So you may have wedding relatives from certain parts of the world that can't travel due to the world pandemic situation. And so the reason why we've labeled these sort of suggestions for acts as such, in-person, hybrid, virtual event, and etc. Some of them are going to be different and more appropriate for different situations, and we're going to go through each of them. So in any sense, aerial hoop, absolutely gorgeous and a beautiful, beautiful inflection point for your special day. Next is aerial silks. Oh goodness, this is easily one of the top choices of our wedding clients. Why? Because it is so spectacular. A couple of things to keep in mind with the aerial silks, okay? So same thing, you're looking at 5 to 7 minutes approximate length. You also need a minimum of 18 feet. Okay, this is really critical because you're not going to get the full effect of this gorgeous act if you have anything lower. So 18 feet is your minimum. Your local circ artist professionals will tell you the exact same thing. Okay, so this is a very, very important piece. Also, the other nice thing about silks is that you can have one, so solo, you can have two, as you can see on the screen, or three. But again, they're quite spaced out, so you can really do this in a beautifully socially distant manner, or you can just have that one centerpiece, and absolutely gorgeous. It's a really lovely way to entertain guests, especially if you're looking at in between any of the formalities. So when you're designing your wedding program with your wedding planner, you're going to want to really talk about pacing, right? This is something that really helps the event move along. Actually, a huge part of pacing, by the way, is engaging somebody like Queen, right? An MC, somebody who is a professional at moving the program forward. It's so important, okay? Time those speeches, friends, time those speeches. It's very important to have an MC and keep everybody on track. But anyways, in between all of those formalities, it's a really excellent idea to have the aerial silks in there somewhere, especially if people are like waiting for a course or waiting for something else to happen. Absolutely gorgeous. This is a beautiful piece and people love it. They have that shock and awe factor when a silks is performed. And the reason is because typically this is an apparatus, and you can see it in our videos in our expo booth. This is an apparatus where there's lots of drops and there's lots of dynamic movements. So it's just so exciting for any guests that maybe have not seen anything like this before, maybe not seen anything live like this. So this is also an apparatus that is great for in-person, it's great for hybrid events, and it's beautiful for virtual activations, okay? So that's your aerial silks, very, very popular. I would say that is of the top 2 favorites for weddings, that definitely is there 100%. Okay, so I promised more hoops, and here's another example of how you can use hoops integrated into your wedding day. So this is such a beautiful activation because those little sacks that you can see above where the performers have hanging at the top of their apparatus, those actually have rose petals in them. And so what the ladies are doing in this picture is they're throwing rose petals onto the couple for their first dance. And so this is absolutely gorgeous. You have the smoke machine, you have an absolutely spectacular synchronized activation, and you have the added benefit of those petals being thrown onto the couple. And a nice added touch is make it the couple's, like whatever the flowers are, whatever the floral color sort of scheme is, you can replicate that in your petals. And so it just ties in everything with that beautiful event design. And it is absolutely gorgeous, very Cirque du Soleil-esque, but hey, these are unprecedented times, and so let's have an unprecedented celebration. So this apparatus is excellent. Again, in-person, hybrid, and the virtual event, absolutely, it can be done. You're going to have, some working out of what's happening on the in-person side, on the virtual side, but all totally figure outable, as we like to say in A²D². Everything, you can figure it out, okay? So that is the first dance suggestion with our aerial hoop. Whoops, okay, let's just click down 1 second. There we go. Okay, amazing. Next, another beautiful activation for first dances is, of course, your live music entertainment. And so this is a huge part of our hearts, of course, because live music and Cirque, they just go so well together, but you can have them independently. So for example, as you can see, this couple, they are being serenaded by a saxophonist. Oh my gosh, absolutely gorgeous. Who would not want to have this as their first dance, right? And so, of course, a song selected by the couple, and then a jazz musician wailing away, and it sounds absolutely spectacular. And so this is also something that can be done in any of the formats, whether you're looking at virtual, live, or hybrid. And another thing that I absolutely love in terms of the live music piece is, especially if you are integrating the virtual piece where you'll have guests maybe from across the world that can't come for whatever reason, definitely this is something that will just be so invaluable to the guest experience experience because they're able to still be entertained throughout, right? Especially when there's big gaps, you can have that musician playing, and it is really special experience. So I absolutely highly and very strongly recommend the sort of the first dance, but then also just having your live musicians incorporated into your wedding. Okay, next here. This is one of our favorites for weddings because it's just such a ball. People love it. So we call this foodtertainment or foodtainment. This is our roaming cupcake girl. We love the roaming cupcake dress. It's lots of fun. Obviously, this is only an in-person activation for obvious reasons. But you can be creative too. Like you can have cupcakes shipped. You can have meals shipped to guests, right? Not shipped, but I mean delivered, right? Depending on people's situations. I just was at a virtual event last week, and we had a fully catered lunch that was delivered. One of the local catering companies here in Toronto delivered a fully catered meal, and it was so awesome. It was such an amazing part of the event. I was so grateful. And so think about those types of things for your guests, especially the ones that have to sit behind a screen. But your guests in person, certainly the roaming cupcake girl is a beautiful experience. Reason being is because she basically is, walking food, right? So you walk around and people just love, especially the children. Actually, this is a huge hit for kids. They love chasing around the cupcake girl because she's, milling all around. And of course, like who doesn't love cupcakes and icing at weddings, right? So this is a beautiful way to integrate into your event. And absolutely, or even there's lots of apparatuses of this nature. So depending on where you are and where you're having your event, just this would be really important to get in touch with your local supplier, the local sort of entertainment folks who do live events, who do weddings all the time. Ask them what they have, because you may be surprised with all of the cool and different things that they had to offer. Okay, next, this is this is the top two. Remember I told you we have two of the most popular things for weddings. So number one was silks. Number two is actually this right here, which is our aerial beverage pourers. Okay, so this is not something you could deploy virtually, but you can certainly do in person and hybrid, absolutely. People love this because, and of course, this is a picture of our actual girls at an actual wedding, as were all of the other photos you've seen so far. But anyways, the nice thing about this is that you have the girls right at the door. So as soon as people come in, you have the pour, you have a little bit of a show. People always want to take a picture. They always want to take a picture. Who would not want to take a picture? And away they go. And it's a beautiful way of just saying, welcome to our wedding, welcome to our event, right? So aerial beverage pourers, excellent, beautiful touch. When people they have that first impression of your ballroom. I just absolutely love this. It's not a surprise that it is the top two of the things that are the most booked for weddings on our end, just because it's such a beautiful, beautiful centerpiece and people absolutely love it. Okay, next we have your virtual entertainment, which we touched on earlier. So here are a couple of ideas that definitely you're going to want to really consider as you move forward and plan your special day. So definitely having MCs that can really make sure that everything stays on track. Your MC works closely with your wedding planner just to make sure everything clicks along. It's so important to have things that stay on time, because then if things drag too late, if certain elements go too long, you're really just cutting off other important things that have to happen later in the evening, right? And so we cannot stress enough that it's so important that you have an MC. Equally as important is if you're providing a virtual component to your wedding, you have a dedicated virtual MC, and then of course you have your MC that's live, because two different teams, two very important activations, right? We just have to keep everything moving, keep people entertained, keep people engaged. It's a really, really important component. So Queen definitely is fabulous. And then of course your wedding planner or your entertainment supplier locally will have fabulous suggestions. So those are your comedic MCs, and you do want them to be professional MCs. I just have to put that pinpoint on there just for a second, okay? Because a lot of people do the thing where it's like, okay, we're just going to get so-and-so, this groomsman or this family member, and who may or may not have any experience at all whatsoever in keeping the event flowing. It's actually a professional job, and you don't want to burden somebody, part of your bridal party, or anybody else for that matter in your family, with a job throughout your wedding. So this is a really, really important piece. Yes, Rob, I agree. Everybody thinks they're a comedian. Everybody thinks they're hysterical after they've had a few drinks, right? So please save yourself all of the anxiety and just ensure that you have professional MCs, and they can really make a huge difference in your event, okay? Very, very important. So next, the live music component we talked about earlier. Cannot recommend that highly enough, just because people love the nostalgia. They love the personal touch. They love not having things canned necessarily and recorded and played back to them. So this is such a beautiful way of customizing your specific wedding for your taste. Live music it's just so important to have, and we always recommend that when a client comes to us and says, what entertainment should we have for an event? A band is always one of the first things that we have on the list, absolutely, because it just makes such a difference. Next is your ambient circus acts. So the nice thing about if you're having an outdoor celebration, for example, you can have so many beautiful things spread out, or if you're in a large banquet facility, everything socially distanced and so on, you can definitely have beautiful pieces that are placed throughout. I remember we did a wedding, of course, pre-COVID, where there was a massive, massive buffet. They're not buffets allowed in Canada anymore. Not sure about the United States, but anyways, there's a massive buffet. And then we had basically set up statues and a fountain in the middle and it was performers, and it was absolutely spectacular. And so you can have pieces like that just embedded and baked into the event so that it's an experience, right? So you have those beautiful pieces that people really walk away with and remember. Next is pyrotechnics. Okay, so fun. This can be done at a variety of different venues. We've seen them done so many places. We've seen them done over the lake. I'm literally right next to Lake Ontario, where I'm broadcasting this from. So over the lake, if you're close by a body of water, or on a golf course, or really anywhere, you can make, not really anywhere, but we've seen things done off the top of hotels. And so just it's a matter of asking your event professional and also the person in charge of your venue, just making sure that you have all of the elements in place, that if pyrotechnics and fire is something that you'd like to do, then you certainly can. We have something that's a fire replacement that you can certainly ask us about, or your local entertainment provider. You can see it on the screen there. It's called Pixel Poi. It's the top left. And basically, it's a beautiful fire replacement because it's those LEDs. Basically, they're just, it's an apparatus. And so the performer is actually moving around, twirling the apparatus. And it's just so cool. And it's so much fun. It's great for virtual, excellent for hybrid and in person as well. So those are some ideas, and definitely things that guests will absolutely remember. Okay, next, outdoor entertainment. So if you are so fortunate that you have the opportunity to be outside on a beautiful day for your special day, then definitely considering an outdoor rig for an aerial circus activation. So that can be silks, as you can see, but one of the #1 things that we get requested for weddings. So this is a beautiful, beautiful option. And then of course you can have a hoop swapped in there. You can kind of even see the hoop swag to the side there if you look carefully on the right-hand side. So you could use that as your champagne pour or as a beautiful hoop act, first dance, whatever. You can really come up with lots of great ideas with your entertainment provider. Now, of course, you need to be in a climate that would be suitable. Can't be wet, this apparatus, but certainly in certain climates and also seasons, you'd be completely fine. And of course, this meets all the height requirements needed for the aerial silks apparatus. Now, I will warn you, there are some we've seen lots of people in the past that have, gone into a beautiful park or a beautiful space and looked at a tree and said, oh, well, we can just put a silk there, or we can just hang a hoop there. You really want to talk to your, first, an arborist would be able to tell you if that tree is, you're going to damage it if you hang something off of it, like a human load. Second, you're going to want to engage the local circ rigger for your circus company. You're going to want to have a professional rigger look at that as well. And 9 times out of 10, it's not a good idea. It's not a good fit, just because you want to, first, you don't want to damage the nature that is beautiful and in place. But second, it's very rarely perfectly, like the symmetry is not perfect, right, for the use of an apparatus. Now, if it's a swing or it's something, you know, just a little bit more, that's not meant to be an act necessarily, but more ambient background, absolutely, you can totally do that. But at the end of the day, we strongly recommend the use of a rig of this nature. It's absolutely gorgeous. Everybody loves it, all ages. And so just wanted to leave you with a big thank you. Thank you so much for taking time to watch this presentation. If you'd like to connect with us, please feel free to do so. We are at info@a2d2.ca. And of course, we're very happy to advise any questions that you have. We do have consultations that we're very happy to assist you with. Having said that too, make sure if you're already engaged with your local wedding planner, your local market, you're already sourcing your vendors and so on and so forth, amazing. Ask locally what are the best recommendations, because there's so many extraordinary artists and beautiful entertainers that absolutely would be such a beautiful fit for your special day. So we just wanted to say thank you so much for taking the time. We so appreciate you. We hope your event is an extraordinary experience. So thanks so much, friends, and just have a wonderful evening.
Hello, hello. I am very excited today to be chatting with you about small weddings. Small weddings do not mean that they are not amazing weddings. So I am going to share my screen with you here, and we are going to jump right in. Here we go. All right, let's talk about how to plan an elopement wedding. Where to start when planning the wedding of your dreams, only smaller. I am going to let you know that small weddings does not mean that you need to have a less than wedding. In fact, it could be the best decision for you as a couple. So before we begin, hello. My name is Morgan Childs. I am the CEO of Modern Elopement. I am also a wedding industry educator and consultant. I started doing events 18 years ago now, and I fell in love with small weddings, what I call elopement weddings, all the way back in 2014. And now I am passionate about having the wedding of their dreams, no matter how small the guest list is. And we are going to talk all about that today. All right, in the next 15 minutes here, we're going to do 15. I am going to take your questions as well. We are going to cover what an elopement wedding is, where to begin planning your small wedding, because believe me, that does matter, and budgeting for your elopement, because of course, the number one question that couples have is, how much is it all going to cost? We are going to dive in. Let me tell you all the secrets that I have from 18 years of being an event planner and how you can plan your dream elopement, making sure that it's exactly as amazing as you want it to be, because small weddings don't mean that you can't have everything that you want. This past year has been rough, especially for our couples. You might be scared of wedding planning now, thinking that anything that you are going to do now just might have to change. And that huge wedding that you were dreaming of, or that big party that you just thought that you would have, is maybe no longer possible. And I just don't want you to even think for a moment that having a small wedding is going to mean just waiting for that experience or throwing something away. Having a small wedding is amazing. It's actually my favorite thing. So I started doing small weddings because while I was planning larger weddings for years, I realized that my couples, a lot of them wanted something different. They wanted something intimate. They wanted an experience that they hadn't really seen before. The big wedding just didn't have any appeal to them and they didn't know what else to do. So maybe they just didn't have a wedding. Well, that doesn't need to be the answer. There are so many couples who are perfect for an intimate wedding. So whether you have to have a smaller wedding or you really want to have a smaller wedding, because that sounds much better to you, I am going to let you know how to do that. So what's an elopement wedding? An elopement wedding can be just a ceremony, or it can include plans for dinner, lunch, or even a breakfast reception after your ceremony. An elopement wedding is amazing because this term can any non-traditional wedding format. So whether you just want a ceremony or you want a ceremony and have plans afterwards, whether you want to run off to a mountaintop and get married there with just your significant other, or you want to have 25 friends and escape to a chateau in France for the week and have the most amazing time, all of those things are elopement weddings. And I'm going to dive in a little bit more about different wedding formats, but an elopement doesn't mean a throwaway wedding. It doesn't mean you have to go to a courthouse or to Vegas. An elopement wedding just means that it's a smaller wedding. And it's a smaller wedding that you don't have to do all the things that you thought you had to do at a wedding. And that is really great for a lot of couples. Let's talk about all of the brand new wedding terminology that's coming out, because you don't just need to do an elopement wedding. There are so many creative solutions that wedding professionals have put together, whether it was born out of the needs of last year or they were invented a while ago for couples just like you who didn't want a traditional wedding or couldn't have a traditional wedding, but wanted something else. There are many different ways that you can choose to have a small wedding. You are, and what resonates most with you as a couple, that is going to really determine the type of wedding that you want to have. So let's jump in here. The micro wedding is the new buzzword, right? You've heard it. We've all heard it. What the heck is a micro wedding? Well, a micro wedding is described as an intimate wedding for up to 50 guests. I actually am going to put a pause here because I think that small weddings in general should be for 30 guests and under. I think that because when you have over 30 guests, most likely your guests are expecting something that's more like a typical wedding, with a cocktail hour and a reception, speeches, dances, cake cutting. That's a regular wedding. And a traditional wedding, whether you have 40 people or 140 people, that's just a wedding. So we're not talking about that. We're going to talk about different or alternative wedding formats. And so even though this is the industry terminology, so you know, a lot of people in the industry will use this term, and this is what they will mean. Personally, I think 30 and under is best suited for that intimate wedding experience. All right, so the micro wedding, getting back to that, it is essentially a smaller and pared down version of a typical or traditional wedding. So you're going to have professional vendors. You might have the same sort of reception style experience. And so therefore, it's the most like a normal wedding, but it's just micro. The mini wedding. Usually this is a term used by planners to describe their service for smaller weddings, and it's referring in general to any type of small wedding with less than 40 guests. So the mini wedding doesn't really refer to any standard of, but a lot of wedding professionals are using this term to indicate that it is a part of their service and what this offering that you can get from them, what that means. So it's good to know mini wedding is just going to be a small wedding experience, usually 40 or under. The tiny wedding. A tiny wedding is less than 10 guests and is a only format. No reception, no dinner afterwards. This is generally a pre-planned package from a venue or from a planner. The pop-up wedding. Pop-up wedding is a wedding package that is usually just for the couple, maybe a handful of guests, but definitely no more than 10. There are only a few fixed dates that the couples can book, and you are going to be one of a few couples that go through the same ceremony setup in one day. So you get a set of vendors and a ceremony setup, usually really beautiful, great vendors, and then you share that with different couples throughout the day. Not at the same time, don't worry, but you'll have where you will get to use that setup, those vendors, and then after you are done and long gone, there will be another couple who can do the same. This is a great and cost-effective way for you to have a beautiful ceremony if you really don't have the means to spend on one. So perhaps a pop-up wedding is a great idea for you. Then we move on to the mini-moni. A mini-moni is essentially born out of the needs of 2020. A simple ceremony with just the couple or a few guests. And it is really with the intention that there will be a larger wedding in the future. The one thing that I want to state about a mini-moni is that it is still your wedding day. And now, as we are more than a year into this pandemic experience, a lot of couples who were planning on doing other weddings after their mini-moni no longer feel the need to do another wedding because they're married already. I want to move on with life. And so I do want to encourage you that a mini-moni still needs to be a beautiful and significant ceremony experience as if it were going to be your only experience. Because, guys, it is your one wedding day. And no matter how you paint it, it is always going to be your one special wedding day in your memory. And so that's why I really think that having a lot of care and concern with how you plan it and making sure that it is special and meaningful, I promise you, you will thank me later that you did this because it's always going to be your wedding day. So if you are thinking, we want to do a small mini-moni experience, you can still do that and have a large celebration later. Just make sure your mini-moni means something to you. And I'm going to get into some tips for how to plan that. So don't worry about that. And finally, the elopement wedding. We went into this a bit. It's just the couple up to about 25 guests, maybe 30 at the most. The main goal of an elopement wedding is it is something personalized for the couple, and it is more cost effective than a traditional wedding. Usually that will come into play, not having to do favors and cake cutting and dancing and entertainment and cocktail hour, et cetera, et cetera. These you can rethink. Maybe we want to do something on a boat. Maybe we want to take a helicopter. Maybe we want to rent an Airbnb for the week with our friends. Elopement wedding can really stretch to fit any type of wedding experience that is right for you. And what I get so excited about is you as a couple defining that experience. All right, so where do you start? The very first thing that you want to do is you and your partner want to decide what you want out of the day. What is your priority? What is most important? This is so important because defining this will, of course, bring you closer together as a couple because you will be on the same page about this experience. But it is also really going to help you when it comes to your budget. Because if you have a priority about what's important to you, it's going to make it much easier for you to determine where to splurge and where to save. So starting off on the right foot with your partner, understanding what is important to the two of you, what are the things that you don't want to compromise on, that is the best place to begin. So your first major decision after you set your priorities is destination and location. Where are you going to get married? Now, a lot of couples that do smaller weddings now have the freedom to do it at an incredible destination. Maybe you're pairing that with your honeymoon and it is your dream destination. That's an amazing thing about elopements. But because of this past year, if travel is off the table and if you are doing it even close to home, please make sure that you are not doing it at a secondary location. You are not just doing it somewhere that has absolutely no meaning. That's not what we want. We want you to be able to do your wedding at a location that has meaning or significance to you. Maybe you just want to do it in your hometown, but at a special place that you love, or do it at this epic, beautiful location that you both enjoy hiking to on the weekend. Maybe you do want to do that at the courthouse, but then you can go to dinner at the state. Be fancy or expensive, but it has a meaning to the day. This is your wedding day. You will remember it. The location matters. So it's important. Make sure that it's special. And of course, we are a big proponent of photography and having gorgeous photos because these are your memories, right? So have it be somewhere that you love and that you're proud of, not somewhere that in a couple years you wish you just did it somewhere else. The second major decision is going to be your guest list. You definitely want to be on the same page as your partner when it comes to this. So your guest list is very small with an elopement wedding. And if you're doing a micro or elopement wedding and you want to think about things like who's invited, really understand that having an intimate wedding gives you the freedom to only have the people there that are so meaningful to you. It really gives you that opportunity. So I would suggest that you take some time with that guest list and really curate that well. Our third major decision is going to be the date. Your wedding date does matter. You want to keep in mind whether schedules for all of your non-negotiable people, right? So you've decided on your guest list. Well, I give you these things in the right order because I know that these decisions affect other decisions. So when you are deciding on your date, you want to make sure that that date works with the people that you need there. You also want to think about pricing. If you decide to do your elopement wedding off season or on a weekday, those are things that could have some significant savings for you. Time and really decide on that date. Then we have, let's talk about the B word. What is the B word? Budget, of course. So budgets for elopement weddings have a huge range because they can be super, super elaborate. Like I said, heading off to a chateau with 25 people for a week, or it can be very, very simple. And you could go to the courthouse and have something that is bare bones. So whether it's $300 or $30,000 and up, you want to have an idea of all of the decisions that we made before, because those are going to affect your budget. Your location or destination will affect your budget. Your priorities will affect your budget, and your guest list will affect your budget. And then we even talked about how date can affect your budget. So having all of these beforehand really help you with your budget. One thing to note is that your budget is a per person cost. So if you are having guests, person. And what I want you to do is just think about the people that you really have there. Are they the people that you need there? And then think about the fact that that is a part of your budget. So think about it per person. The other thing is once you have your priorities, it is going to make it much easier for you to decide where to splurge and where to save. So now that we have gone through all of that and you are thinking, okay, I get some of the first steps to the rest of my wedding, I have a tool for you. We have the complete wedding planning guide, which is a workbook where I outline how to plan a small wedding step by step. whether it is just the two of you or up to 30 guests, this is a perfect step. And you can find that at modernelopement.com, or you can just email or DM me. I will give you the link to grab that. This is such a nominal fee for something that is going to set you up for incredible success. It's like having a wedding planner in your back pocket. I'm giving you all of the secrets to plan your wedding. And we also have a subscription. The Modern Elopement membership is a monthly membership where you get us virtually helping you plan your wedding. So if you are interested in that, please head on over to modernelopement.com/membership, modernelopement.com/membership, and you will see that there. So I am so glad that you are all here, and I would love to answer any questions. If you have any, free to reach out to me at any time, and I would love to chat about your small weddings. So thank you everybody so much. And if you don't have any questions, I will see you soon. And head on over to my expo booth as well. And there's lots more information there. Bye for now.
Good evening and welcome, bridal couples, to a very special chat about how to help you plan not for your beautiful wedding day, but for your incredible wedded life together. My name is Haley Patry, and I'm here as your relationship expert, marriage mentor, and relationship counselor to teach you how you can love happily ever after. I'm so excited to share tonight's content with you, and I'm going to open up some slides because boy, girl, I got some stuff for you. I am very excited because I want to share so many nuggets with you. I want to give you the opportunity to have all of the tips, all of the nuggets, all of the tools that are going to help you walk down that aisle with incredible confidence. So we are going to get started right here. Good evening, friends. You are at this very special workshop called How to Love Happily Ever After. Let's make sure you are in the right place. First and foremost, if you are getting married, a huge congratulations to you. You're in the right workshop if you're engaged and you want to stay happy together. You're open to learning some practical tools that work to keep your relationship solid. You believe in marriage preparation workshops and you didn't have any plans for doing marriage preparation just yet, but you're happy to be reminded of it tonight. Maybe, whether it's from COVID or other pre-existing issues, maybe you're experiencing some challenges and some stress in your relationship, perhaps even infidelity. Maybe you're dealing with the stresses of children, in-laws, outlaws, or other family clashes as you work on planning your beautiful day and your life together. Or you're just really wise. You want to avoid the typical challenges that most couples will face, and you want to avoid them before they come up by learning the skills to keep you solid. Or the pandemic has put a dent in your relationship joy like it has for so many couples. And ultimately, if this is not your first marriage, like myself, I'm 11 years in my second time lucky. If this is not your first marriage, I bet you want to get it right this time around by learning how to truly be a happy, healthy, and solid couple. So we're here at How to Love Happily Ever After. I will be sharing tools with you on how to build a happy marriage. And my name is Haley Patry. I am the author of Happy Love, the 5 essential steps to help frustrated couples fall in love again. And I wear a few fun hats, including the marriage mentor, true happiness coach, and the relationship repair specialist. So let's get right into it. I've had the privilege of speaking to over 1 million audience members, but I love intimate events like tonight where we can spend time together and really support you on this very exciting next step. I have supported clients in 136 countries. I have produced 5 books and overcoming more than 30 years of trauma, including my first marriage ending in divorce, has truly taught me from the inside how we can overcome all things and find love and joy joy using the best methods. I am now a happily married mom of 3, and I'm going to share with you the things that not only my husband and I use to have a joyful life, love, and family life, but the same things that thousands of clients around the world have been using to keep their relationship healthy. These are my gems right here. My husband, my 3 boys, age 15, 6, and 5. That's a picture from our wedding in Jamaica. And I guess it qualifies as a micro wedding. 29 people in attendance, and it was just perfect. As the author of multiple books, my favorite one to share with you is this one. And tonight I'm going to make some content from this book available to you for free. So I'll show you at the end how you can keep in touch, and I will send you the chapters that you need as my gift to you. I want to share with you the power of the techniques we're going to cover tonight before we dive right in. Here is a testimonial from a client that was really in a rough spot. After just 2 intense sessions, we not only began reconnecting on a deep level, we started making love again. I can truly say I've never been happier or more in love. Haley's methods are unique to any other marriage counselor, and she is the first person that was helpful for our marriage and each of us individually. This is not therapy, it's better. Here's another from a lovely lady who was in her 3rd chance at love, living with her partner, not yet married, and they had a chance to have a session. She says, Haley was very informative and gave us the tools to learn how to communicate better. She has given us hope for our future together. Her techniques that she uses in her session really make sense to my partner and I. We're going to apply and use her techniques to better improve our relationship together. So, my friends, the methods work. Let me share with you what they are. And my wish for you at tonight's event, because I know somebody might have put a ring on it. If you are going to be walking down the aisle soon, or canoeing down the aisle soon, or zooming down the aisle soon, I want you to have these techniques so that your relationship starts with an incredible foundation. I've created a 5-step process called the Ideal Love Method, and this is a method I would love to install into your relationship. Step 1 is where we take inventory. We take inventory of how happy and fulfilled you are at this moment with all of these parts of your relationship. How are you doing as a couple right now around appreciation, trust, respect? How about resiliency, peace and closure, forgiveness, sex and physical closeness, intimacy and romance, finances and how to divide them, share them, split them, spend them, or save them, love and kindness, division of labor, which, oh my goodness, so many couples fight about, spousal health, attraction to your partner, parenting if there's children involved, communication, fun, family values, beliefs, and more. So, as you go through the 5-step ideal love method and you're applying this to your relationship, imagine that in step 1, you're rating out of 10 how you're doing in your relationship at the moment for each of those areas. In step 2, the D is where we design the 2.0 version of your relationship and future marriage. How would you rather be doing in each of these areas right here? If you could paint a picture for me and your partner, what would a 10 out of 10 look like in all of these different categories? It's all part of the process to acknowledge where you are and where you want to go. Step 3 is where we eliminate the roadblocks. We've got to take note of what might be in your way as a couple. What factors within your relationship or pushing on it from the outside are sabotaging your happiness and your potential together? We will address what those roadblocks are, and we will find solutions to help you go forward confidently and peacefully. The A is where we build out an action plan. See, unlike therapy, where you're able to get things off your chest, which is so beneficial, coaching is where we do more than talk about it and get you inspired. We need to make some real plans, get into real action, get in the trenches, and do something about it. And the L, the final step, is where you learn the 6 secret skills of happy couples. I'm going to share them with you tonight for what they are. In the ideal love method, as you go through this process, you could go through it on your own using my book, Happy Love, as your companion. But my highest recommendation to you is to let myself or one of my certified marriage mentors take you through this material in a marriage preparation workshop, which you can attend in group or you can attend privately one-on-one. In fact, I love teaching these classes privately because we really get to go deep. Here, my friends, are the 6 secrets of happy couples. Happy couples know how to love each other the right way. There are so many ways to give and receive love, and we all have our preferences. The faster you can learn your partner's preferences and choose to love them in that way, the faster you can keep their love tank full, and they're going to be on their best behavior, best mood, best self when that love tank is full. Number two, happy couples know how to gain instant reconnection. I will teach you how to master the art of the heart to heart conversation. It is 3 simple steps that will help you go from distant to connected in just one talk. The next secret of happy couples is negotiating. Happy couples know how to get what they want almost all of the time, and that's by learning how to ask not just nicely, but effectively. Learning how to negotiate for peace and not war is an important skill as you go into your marriage. Number 4, happy couples know how to alleviate tension. I would love to teach you my perfect apology formula. It is the simple 4 steps that you can use to clean it up when you have messed it up. The thing is, we're all human, and even though we might come with the best of intentions, we're going to make mistakes. We're going to have moments we wish we could take back in our marriage, and it is so important for you to have a confident way to take ownership, make amends. The 5th skill of happy couples is that happy couples know how to date each other. Yeah, not other people. Happy couples know how to date each other. Statistics tell us that couples who date each other at least once a week are 3.5 times happier. But it's more than just Netflix, torn PJs, and a big bowl of popcorn. There is an art to dating that causes connection and keeps the fire alive. And that brings us to number 6, which is all about the fire. Happy couples are able to talk about their intimacy, romance, sex, and physical closeness. They're able to work through the barriers, keep that flame lit, notice when it's flickering, and get it back if it's gone out. Mastering physical intimacy in your relationship is such an important pillar of an exciting, fulfilling future together. So, those are the 6 skills, my friends. But I want to share with you one more thing. Imagine that you and your partner have been fighting about something, or there's some tension as you go through this wedding plan. If there's something bothering you at the moment, I want you to ask yourself, how is it now? Question 1 of these 5 questions is your chance to vent and get it off your chest. These questions that I'm about to reveal to you are the same as what I use with my high end private coaching clients, but you can actually use them for yourself to take yourself on a self coaching inquiry. Question 2 for this thing that's bugging you in your relationship right now, or maybe specifically around planning your wedding, how would you rather it be? If the way it is at the moment is not copacetic, well, dream with me for a moment and tell me how you would rather it be. Question 3, I want you to explore inside your wise noggin, what do you already know that could possibly be done about it? Question 4, out of all the things that are possible to do about it, which things make your short list? What are the things that you'd be willing to do about it? And question 5 is really the only question that matters. What will you do about it in the next 24 hours? Oh, there's so much I want to show you folks tonight, and I know that our time's going to go by quickly. Here's a quote I want you to take a screenshot of. You don't need to make massive change to be moving in the right direction. Please remember that tiny tweaks done daily over time lead to massive results. Now, everything I'm about to show you and everything I've already shown you does exist in my book, and it does exist in my private practice. But I want to share with you 3 more nuggets tonight. Nugget number 1, here is the formula for the heart to heart conversation. If you and your partner are having a little alone time and you want to talk about something other than wedding planning or other than COVID, try this one on for size. It's really simple. Step 1, declare a vision. Step 2, an apology. And step 3, a request. You can see a little testimonial on the bottom. It says, one talk done this way forever changed our marriage. Let me walk you through it real quick. You and your partner are going to choose a time to have this heart to heart conversation. You're each going to take turns sharing a vision of the future. Maybe you're going to talk about what it'll be like when you celebrate your 1-year wedding anniversary. Tell your partner all the beautiful things that you picture in that future time frame that you're talking about. It could be next weekend, next year, when you have a family, when you can travel again. You just name that time and tell them the dream in your mind. Step 2, I want you to clean something up. Make an apology for just one thing. And it could be simple. You could say, my love, I want to clean it up with you that I have been looking at my phone and scrolling through Pinterest and Instagram wedding ideas, and you've been talking to the side of my head instead of getting heart to heart and eye to eye contact. So, whatever it is, if you can clean up one thing for your partner, makes a big difference. And step 3, the best part, ask for something. Ask for something that is going to make your experience in this relationship better. Nugget number 2, my friends, dating your partner. As I mentioned earlier, studies show that couples who date each other at least once a week are 3.5 times happier. Oh my goodness, that is the cheapest therapy you can possibly have, is just spend some quality alone time with your sweetheart. 3 hours or more is ideal. It does not need to be at night. It does not need to be out. It does not need to be fancy or costly. But here's a few tips. Do your showering, do your personal hygiene, act as if intimacy may just happen later. Put on your best, dress up for your partner. Don't show up for your date in your most tattered clothes. And on your date, this isn't the time to do dishes, vacuum, dust, watch the same old show. This is the time to have quality connection and fun together. Tip number 3, my friends, if you want to stop the fighting and the tension, every time your mind is thinking of a complaint, I want your lips to figure out how to say it like a question or a request. For example, if you wanted to say to your partner, you never help with the wedding planning, you don't show up to the appointments, you're late for every appointment we have. Those are complaints. What happens when you complain at someone? They go like this, or they go like this, or they don't talk. It's never going to produce the results that you want. And so instead, I invite you and I challenge you. Think of the complaint, turn it into a question. My love, it would be so meaningful to me if at our next 2 bridal appointments, you were going to meet me there 10 minutes early. We'll have a quick coffee before our appointment, and that you're going to be super present and focused because your opinion matters to me. Now, if you say that to your partner, they are far more likely to want to show up for you than if you just complain at them and tell them what they do wrong. So I have so much more I want to share with you. I'm hoping that you want more goodies to help you have an incredible relationship. I know we're at a wedding event, but this is about more than your wedding day. This is about your married life together. So please, keep in touch with me at theliftedlid.com and let me share with you some free gifts I want to give you today. Number 1, I'd love to give you a free chapter of your choice. Heck, I'm not going to say no if you ask for 2 chapters. So please go to theliftedlid.com, take a look at all the chapters, and send me a text. Tell me the one you want or the 2 that you want, and I will send you over those files right away. The second gift I have for you is a big one. It is a 30-minute free relationship coaching session. You can text me at 416-797-5856 to book, or you can go over to my website. And I want to tell you a little bit more about this free relationship session. The first 3 couples that text me tonight by 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you're going to get a whole hour. You're going to get a full hour marriage enhancement, marriage preparation session. And this one session can honestly get you started on the right track for happy love together. See what a recent winner had to say after they attended a previous event, and they won this 1-hour session. Hello, Haley. Thank you so much for spending time with us and giving us so much information. The tools that you gave us really helped us to work on our relationship. With only one session with you, we already have incredible hope for our future and have already applied a lot of your techniques. Mike was so impressed with our session and couldn't believe some of the things that you said. He said it's like you were reading his mind, LOL. Your energy and thoughtfulness was truly appreciated. Thank you so much once again, Tanya. I want this for you, my friend. If you're getting married and you're smart enough to do a little preparation for your relationship, then please text me fast. Be one of the 3 tonight. And I hope you're one of the 3, because here's what you're going to get: a supportive relationship coaching session, a thorough intake. We're going to talk about almost 20 of those relationship areas. You're going to get solutions to help you heal what might be in the way for you or causing you stress. You're going to get countless tools and takeaways to enhance your relationship before you even get married. You're going to get a new chance to be happy together and design your marriage the way you want it to be. And the reason you want to text me really, really fast is this 1-hour session consultation is worth $275 plus tax, but I'm giving it to you for free from the bottom of my heart. You can have your session recorded on Zoom, so you'll get to play it back and learn from it over and over. This is your chance to walk down that aisle with confidence, knowing you have a solid foundation for your relationship. So I hope you're one of the first 3, but if you're not and you still decide you want support tomorrow, I'm here for you. I have a ton of options available, including marriage preparation classes, either privately or in groups, couples workshops, couples retreats. You can always order my book, Happy Love, and there's definitely private coaching if you're going through some real struggles and you want to get it solved and wonderful before the big day. Here's a couple quotes for us to end tonight on. A successful marriage requires falling in love many times, just always with the same person. And here's one I adore. The best thing to hold on to in life is each other. My friends, I am here for you. It has been such a pleasure to be here with you today, talking about how you can love happily ever after. You deserve it. You are already going through the stress of planning your wedding in the pandemic. You are already going through the constant changing government regulations, how to keep people safe. Let's keep your love safe. From my heart to yours, I am absolutely here for you. I am happy to answer any questions. On the next break, please come on over and visit me at my exhibitor booth. And I'm going to put my information up for you in the chat here because I am here for you.
All right, so we are talking about design in the wedding industry today, and I'm going to toggle back and forth because I can, I'm not seeing anybody, so I'm kind of talking about, all the different design options and everything. Hi, Allison. Hi, Gracie. Glad you could come in. So just kind of, bear with me as I toggle back and forth because I literally am surrounded by computer screens everywhere. So I have 20 minutes to give you some tips and advice on what you can do if you're going to have a wedding in COVID during this year. So one of the things that I absolutely loved doing was creating pods throughout the entire event. And it's by doing that, you can create a more intimate feel and make your guests feel like they are really a part of that. So it kind of starts at that ceremony process. So what we usually typically do now because of COVID and social distancing is we actually create really awesome ceremonial structures where it's different tiered. So if you, for instance, are on a lawn, on a lake, we'll use that as a scenario, and it's really big and there's a porch behind, we actually use all the room that there is and spread out the chairs. And one of the things that we love doing is being able to do 2 or 3 chairs, even 4, that just has the family. And then we'll do a chair section for the bridal party. And then we'll do a chair section for grandma and grandpa. And then we stack the different levels. So we'll do part of it on the lawn, part of it on the big porch behind them. So there's all sorts of different ways that you can bring that design into the fold, create something new, but still create something really cool and intimate. Another great way that, and I talk about this all the time, another great way to work on that design process and be different is to create little vignettes. I absolutely love creating vignettes. So with the vignettes, you can do it vintage style, you can do modern chic, you can do glam, you can do over the top, so many different things. And one of the things that I personally love doing is really finding out who you are as a couple and then finding the furniture that matches your personality. Now, how fun would it be to kind of mimic your living room or to do furniture that you have always wanted, but you just won't get? So that's another way. And you can create all these little spaces within a tent or even inside. So one of the things that I love to do is really think about how we're going to do that vignette. And that means for me that one of the best options you can do to make sure that it's fully encompassed and your guests are a part of that is to work with catering. So for your catering team, a great option is to do instead of doing just past apps, do a really cool tray of apps that's set at each vignette station. So guests can literally stay there. They don't have to get up. They have a beautiful tray of appetizers in front of them, and then they can just be switched out. That always works really well. Okay. And ask me, thank you, Allison. Ask any tips that you want. Another great tip, I'm trying to like tell you all the tips from my kind of Rolodex of thoughts here in a 20-minute time span. Another great tip, and it kind of goes off of catering. We're not going to be able to probably do buffets anytime soon. And I'm okay with buffets. Buffets are like old and outdated, and there are so many other options you can do. Talk with your caterer about doing chef-run stations and making it interactive. How fun would it be for guests to watch a chef cook a fish, or to sear a steak, or to create a miniature appetizer? You know, I love going to restaurants and seeing the chefs bring out the meals and prep them and prepare them and plate them. It's always a wonderful interactive experience for me. So I love bringing that to my clients as well. And don't be afraid to push your caterer out of the box. Ask them, what is it that you will do to make this different, to make this stand out? Another great tip that you can do, especially now that we're in those COVID times, is those cheese stations are no longer really able to have the same feel because you can't go up and you can't take the tong after tong after tong because it's person after person. So it has to be structured. Create layers. How fun is it to duplicate all these different layers? So if you have cheese here, put another one up here, put another one down here, and then do a meat section and do different layers so that all the different families can come in and they each get to pick a section and take from it. One of the biggest things that we've done this year is we've used disposable clips. We've used disposable tongs. We've used disposable spoons. And it's really great because you just lay them out really nicely. Everybody can pick it up. They put it on their plate and then they just trash the disposable tong, or they keep it because they want to come back for seconds. And then you're not retouching that tong over and over, or the spoon to get that dip. So that's something that we have really tried to install in all of our clients this past year and this upcoming year. And Gracie, can you tell me how long I have? I started at 8:30. I think I have 5 minutes. Another great thing that you can do that we've really loved doing is, and trust me, I will say this as a caveat. We fully understand that masks are not something that you want to do at a wedding, but we actually have customized masks. So how fun is it for your guests to arrive and they have a little box waiting for them at their hotel, and in that little box is a custom face mask that has their embroidered initials on it. There are some really beautiful, inexpensive silk face masks out there that can embroider different initials or put the name. You could put your names. You could put glad you're here, celebrate wedding, so many options. And put it in a little box with a little note that says, we're so glad you're here. We understand that masks are not the optimal solution, but we want to be safe and we want you to be safe. Here's a little gift from us to you. And everybody is just loving that. We have done so many custom face masks last year and this coming year, and we're super excited to make them different. You know, remember, the other thing that you can do is create a welcome bag that has a really personalized letter, not the generic, this is the event time, this is where you need to go. Actually take a moment and do a hand personal note to each and every guest, thanking them for coming, remembering something that was really significant in your life about them, a trip to a restaurant or a dinner date, you know, them making you feel better, anything. Bring that in the letter And then make sure to reiterate, we're super glad you're here. Remember all the rules. Another quick tip, and I think, let's see here, it's 8:44. I think I have like 2 minutes left. Another quick tip that you could do is when you are doing your RSVPs, so some of the new mandates means that we might have to see if everybody is vaccinated. So for us, where I'm at, we actually have to ask the clients, their guests, our vendors, do you have your vaccination shot? Can you show us? One of the great things that we've done and that we've integrated into our systems is actually doing a tiny little RSVP that asks, will you be fully vaccinated by the time of our wedding? Regretfully decline or joyfully accepts. For most of it, everybody's putting joyfully accepts. And then you can do little tweaks on that card and also put, like, if they regretfully decline, we will watch from afar and send them a little gift of, hey, we're sorry you can't make it, but we were just thinking of you. You can also have them, when they do reply, you could, if you have a planner, you can tell them, please email our planner and send them your vaccine record just to make sure that we're all good. You could create an Excel sheet. It's super easy, it's non-intrusive, and it doesn't take a lot of time. And time is of the essence for all these weddings that are happening this year. So those are some of my quick tips. I'm super excited that you guys get to listen and watch. I just want to stop for 1 second and see if anybody has any questions or any thoughts. What is the time frame for when people book you to the time of the wedding? So, Allison, that's a good one. This year, I just barely booked a wedding that's happening in June. So that means I have 2 months to plan and I'm pulling my hair out, and that's okay because that's what I do and I'm really good at it. Most of the time, people are usually hiring planners a year out, a year to a year and a half. So anybody that's really going out, like micro weddings, you could do 6 months out and you wouldn't have any issues. So, and then larger weddings, I would say a minimum of a year out. And just remember that vendors are fully booked for 2021. There's not a lot of availability. So people are now pushing to 2022. And if you don't get a spot in 2022 quick enough, you might have to go to 2023. And it's going to take us a while to come back, but we're going to come back stronger than ever. So great question. I think I want to just give you guys a couple pieces of advice or wisdom of going forth with a wedding this year. My first piece of advice would be, don't be afraid to think outside the box and to remember the big picture. That big picture is you getting married to the person you love and starting a new journey. And that journey can start anyway. It doesn't have to be fulfilled with a huge, elaborate wedding. It just needs to make sure that you're fulfilling your needs and what you want. And that might be different, and that's okay. So that's tip number one. I think another great option too is don't be afraid to talk to your vendors. It's super important to have an open conversation with them and really push them to think outside the box, because who wants to do the same thing over and over? And as much as I hate COVID and this pandemic, this has been a time of reflection. This has been a time of re-energizing our companies, re-energizing ourselves, and really thinking outside the box. So don't think about the tradition so much and think about what you can do that will make your wedding stand out in a really memorable way.
I wanna love you and treat you right. I want to love you, oh, yes, every day and every night we'll be together. Ooh, with the roof right over our heads, we'll share shelter. Oh my.
before we continue, a quick little story. Speaking of your wedding your way?
Yeah.
A few years ago, we had a couple from Australia that came to New York to get married, and they loved Bob Marley, and they loved that song in particular. And the bride wanted to walk down the aisle to it, but obviously it's a little fun and festive. So they're like, can you slow it way down and make it really groovy? So we never get to do that version of it. But tonight we will, since we get to choose whatever we're doing.
Just for you. I want to love you and treat you right. I want to love you every day and every night. We'll be together with the roof right over our heads. We'll share a shelter of a single bed. We'll share the same room. Oh, and John provide the bread. It's the sun, slow, it's the slow, it's the slow and feeling. Say it's the slow, it's the slow, it's the slow, it's the slow that I'm feeling. It's the slow, it's the slow, it's the slow that I'm feeling. Yes, tell me, is it love that I'm feeling? Oh, I want to know, got to know, gotta know now. Baby, say, I need to know, need to know, I need to know. Tell me, is it love? Baby, tell me, is it love?
Awesome, acute inflections as always. I love the Bob Marley slow down. Be sure to get their album when it comes out across all platforms called 400, which is a Bob Marley tribute album. You definitely want to have that. We have another amazing panel for you that's going to give you a wealth of knowledge for your big day. This time, the topic is tools for building a happy marriage. I know some people wish they would have had this prior to getting married, and COVID liability for your wedding. Our panelists today are Haley Patry. She's the founder of The Lifted Lid, marriage mentor and true happiness coach. We also have Robert Schneck. He's a wedding industry lawyer. He's your go-to guide to the legal side of the wedding and event industry. Welcome, Haley. Welcome, Robert. Good to see you all again.
Hello.
Hello.
It's wonderful to be back with you, Queen Afton.
Yes, let's dive on in so we can give these people everything you got in your brains. Here we go. So, for you, Haley, planning a wedding is already very stressful and straining on a couple, even before they can tie the knot. What advice can you offer to bridal couples to keep their stress levels low during the pandemic?
Oh, I love this question. My friends, studies tell us that if you date your partner once a week, you will be 3.5 times happier. So I don't care how busy you are, and I know how busy you are because I've been married twice myself. But please take out 3 hours minimum a week and make it special. Don't talk about COVID. Don't watch the news. Don't talk about wedding planning. Don't talk about in-laws, outlaws, children, or the blended family, or whatever has been stressing you out. Just be together. And on that date, make it special. Do your personal grooming just in case. You know what I'm saying? And don't wear your tattered pajamas. clean the dishes and fall asleep to the same old Netflix show. Take it as an opportunity to connect, because why are you planning a wedding? Not just so you can wear a dress and a tux, because you love this person. They are your favorite person to hang out with, so please don't forget to hang out with them.
Absolutely. I love the personal grooming tip because you always want a just in case moment to come true. Absolutely. So make sure you prepare accordingly and continue to date. Now, Rob, because we are in the era of social distance and health risks, what tips and advice can you offer to bridal couples to keep them and their guests safe?
I think that as of right now, a good trend is the idea of requiring the guests to have been fully vaccinated, whether they have the one that's the one shot or the two shots plus a couple of days. And in one of the breakout sessions, there was a great advice on that would be included in your RSVP. Like, we accept we've been vaccinated, or we will watch from the sidelines because we have not been, that kind of thing. So I think that's would be number one. And then the other thing is, has been talked about in other sessions, you can do pods or do things that will, try to keep your event safe, having it outside or trying to maximize the distance between people, but still making it personable, that kind of thing. But this is kind of like, as you all know, this is a moving target. I feel like we learn new stuff every day, and but just those are kind of the basics that I'm seeing. So.
Indeed. Yes, I said before, keep it light, make it fun, take the stress out of it. If you have to make it a game, whatever you have to do to make people want to stay safe at your nuptials, if you must include people gathering together. Rob, are bridal couples responsible to maintain the CDC guidelines as much as their planner, venue, and vendor? And if so, what are the risks?
So it's going to depend on jurisdiction. So, but for the most part, everybody is responsible for reasonable behavior. And if you are putting on an event, even though you're the couple and not the planner or the venue or whatever, if you're not acting reasonably, meaning that that you have a fever or that you haven't tasted anything in a few days, or if Uncle Jesse is, sick or whatever, and you don't do anything to warn people or take reasonable steps, then it's possible that you might be a defendant in a lawsuit. So like I said before, it's just you try to do the best you can to act reasonably. Now, what is reasonably? You're right in the sense that it's possible that in your jurisdiction, in your area, it's following the CDC guidelines. Perhaps in your jurisdiction, it might be a little bit more strict than that. There are some, as we know, we live in a federal experiment where some states probably believe that it's a hoax in general. In some other states and some other jurisdictions, it's pretty aggressive in trying to prevent the spread. So your best bet is to do what obviously do what you think is right, but do what is reasonable within your jurisdiction. And I think that the baseline would be the federal CDC guidelines would probably be the safest thing.
Yes, adhering accordingly to what we know the government is putting out, letting the CDC give us that governing tool. And if you want to include some helpful tips, information as the wedding progresses, I say you're welcome to do it. Just know, liable for some things, but anybody, as you said, Rob, could be called in as a witness, as proxy. It is what it is. So be prepared for that as well. If you have those kinds of guests, be careful who you invite.
And luckily, in some jurisdictions, it's. I know that in the South, there's a few states where it's basically if you're going to a public place, you're assuming the risk, and even if you got sick, you would be barred from being able to sue because you went to a place that had people at it. So it's not all bad in terms of that, but just anyway, sorry.
Just be mindful of who you have around, what you want the outcome of your wedding to be. If you want for all of your photos for people to have on masks because you know how people can be once they see the pictures, do what you have to do for the protection of you. Totally understand. I'm totally with it. Now, Haley, what's the purpose of having a marriage mentor while planning a wedding? Should this be something just for troubled couples?
Oh, I love this question, Queen Efton. The truth is that marriage preparation classes are sadly a bit of a dying art. One of the challenges is that so many beautiful couples have a dynamic, interfaith, interspiritual relationship, and they don't know who they can go to as their marriage advisor. Gone are the days for most couples where they would do this through their, religious place, especially if they're like my marriage, where we're from a mishmash of different backgrounds. There was no one person that could take us through at church or synagogue how we were going to get ready for marriage. And the funny thing is, often who used to teach those classes might not have a wife and might not be able to have very much fun with that wife. So teaching a class on how to be successfully married, I'm just saying. So no, you don't need to be a troubled couple to invest in your happy union and spend just a couple hours learning the basic skills, hammering out all the communication techniques, and talking about the 20 parts of a healthy relationship before you go down the aisle. In fact, if you are a happy couple now, getting some marriage preparation training with a marriage mentor or a wedding planner who's become a marriage planner is so smart so you can stay happy together. But of course, if you are already a couple in struggle, and especially if there's been any trauma such as infidelity, if you are shaky before the big day, it is a must. Think of it as pre-counseling instead of counseling. It's a lot cheaper to do preventative marriage work than it is to do damage control later. And Rob, as a lawyer, can tell you, training yourself to be good at love is a lot cheaper than a shotgun divorce. And so all couples, my wish, Queen Efton, is that all couples who've put a ring on it and are going to go down the aisle say, if we're going to have this big celebration, let's do it for a relationship with a healthy foundation. And who's going to teach us? Maybe you come from parents that are still married for 40 years and that's wonderful. Or maybe you're that person where 75% of your friends are divorced. And so most couples don't even have a role model couple that they can go to for healthy advice. So yeah, I think everyone should do a couple hours of marriage prep. It can only serve to help.
Absolutely. I love marriage prep. I mean, I think everybody is learning themselves every day. No one knows everything that they're going to do in any situation. People look at things on TV and say, I would never do that. But if you've not been through it, you have no idea what you would do. So it's great to have somebody to hold your hand, if you will, and walk with you every step of the day. Rob.
I have a question, Haley. So that was okay. So if the marriage is kind of like, or the pre-marriage is kind of like, it's a skill that you develop, or a muscle that you need to train. What are a couple of other things, like, aside from, I'm super interested in this. Like, what other than, like, hey, let's dedicate one night a week, trim wherever you got to trim, or whatever it is. Like, other than that, what other stuff could couples that are about to get married think about in terms of strengthening that bond and actually working on that?
I love that question, Rob. I wish you were in my workshop, and I'll share
Eh.
just the content from a couple of those slides. So my friends, there are 20 parts of a healthy marriage. And part of marriage prep is for you and your partner to actually talk about all these areas and come up with your vision. And they include appreciation, trust, respect, resiliency, peace and closure, forgiveness, sex and physical closeness, intimacy and romance, finances and how you're going to share them, divide them, control them, spend them, save them, invest them, all of it. Love and kindness, division of labor, which, oh my goodness, so many couples fight about. Spousal health, attraction, parenting, if there's kids involved,
This is a lot.
communication, fun, family, values, beliefs. So yes, the short answer, Rob, to that is, there are many parts to a relationship, and couples benefit from first taking inventory of how they're doing now for all parts of a relationship. They benefit from casting a vision for how they would rather it be and create a future dream for their marriage that we can then give them the skills and tools to become that couple. And couples also benefit from getting to see what's in their blind spot. What are the factors inside their relationship and outside that squeeze it that could sabotage their happiness as a couple? And we need to create workarounds for those. And they need the skills, how to communicate, negotiate, fornicate, all that good stuff. There's a toolkit to being good at love, and without it, Love is so much harder than it needs to be. So, yeah, there's some really good, all practical stuff. And there's a reason I didn't make it through my first marriage, and I'm a second time lucky in love. You know, my first husband and I, we didn't have those skills. And my partner and I have been together now 11 years. Thank goodness we have these tools.
Yes, perfect. I am sure, as I mentioned with the other question, that somebody somewhere wishes they had these great tips and tools and words of advice before they enter such a permanent union. I think sometimes people see prenups and divorce as the way out, instead of trying to put the work in that equals up to marriage. It's not all fun and games all the time. There's some other great pieces that need to put together with the puzzle so you can see a full picture. So, Rob, with that said, is there anything that you wish you could tell all married couples before they go ahead with that big permanent legal decision?
I'll weigh in a little bit on that. My top suggestions for couples: number one, every time your brain formulates a complaint about your soon to be spouse, tell your lips to make it a request. You know, if something's bothering you and you want to start a statement with "you always" or "you never," please note that when you complain at your person who you love, they're either going to back up or come back at you, and you will never get what you want. So complaints start here, but out your mouth, make it a request, and state things in a calm and clear way. No digs, no guilt trips, no rehashing of the past. And number two, expectations are dangerous, especially when you've kept them in your own head. Mind reading is not one of the skills that I teach couples. And so if there's something you're hoping for in your marriage, don't hope up here and then get upset with your partner when it doesn't come true. Take the stuff up here and get it out in a supportive, and assertive, and friendly way before going down the aisle. You might have gender norms and biases that are very different. You might have assumed you would be joint financially and share division of labor and live in the country, and your partner's got a completely different secret idea. So talk about the stuff. You know, if you need to have a friendly person there to hold space for you so it doesn't become a fight, many of us will do that for you and just keep the conversation, straight and not going off track. But I encourage you to have the tough conversations in calm and kind ways before you go down the big day. It is easier now than it is later. Holding off won't make it any easier to solve the big stuff.
Indeed. I mean, those were some jewels and nuggets for your crown. So I hope that everybody got those. Take your complaint and turn it into a request, not a yelling session, just a request. Formulate what you know would appease your partner to the movement of getting a solution to take place. I feel like that is just so great, first and foremost. Even in regular communication, there is nobody who knows exactly what you are thinking until you go ahead and say it out of your lips. Love it so much. I want to thank you, Robert Schneck and Haley Patry, for all of this great knowledge that you have given us. Before we do exit, please tell people how to get in contact with you, and then we'll bring on Acute Inflections. Go ahead, Rob.
So you can reach me at my website, which is weddingindustrylaw.com. You can shoot me an email, rob@weddingindustrylaw.com, and you can check. If you go to YouTube, I have over 100 videos at this point on content similar to what we talked about tonight. So just on YouTube, it's Wedding Industry Law. You'll be able to find me there.
Awesome, Rob. And I am definitely going to connect with you. Sadly, I know too many couples who need you for the next stage, the next stage of law. The best way to reach me, my friends, is to think of being stuck and wanting to lift the lid. You'll remember my website. It's theliftedlid.com. And I actually encourage you to send me a confidential text message. I put my number up in the chat. The reason for that is it's not my assistant. It's actually me writing you back directly. Who knows where emails go with spam filters? So if you and your partner are struggling and you are planning for your exciting day and you're just a mess of emotions right now, please don't struggle alone. Reach out. You can always have a free 30-minute chat. And we're here. All of the amazing experts from this event are here to take the stress out of you planning your beautiful day and help you get past the day and have a beautiful life together. So connect with us. We'd love to hear from you.
Wonderful. Thank you all again. So, ladies and gentlemen, brides and grooms, experts and learners, planners and those who are planned for acute inflections.
Give me all, baby. Give me all of you. Your madness, your brilliance, your stillness. I want you, baby. Like a dandelion floating in the wind, you caught my eye, and I wonder if I try to get closer to you, would you stop and fly? Don't continue to wonder. Still, I want you more day and day. Do you feel the same, or is this your game? I'm usually the one who is chased, but the tides have changed. It's not a moment to waste. Give me all, baby. Give me all of you. Your madness, your brilliance, your stillness. I want you, baby. Give me all, baby. I won't run away from your passion, your fury, your worries. I want you, baby. Would loving you make my life change? Maybe add some color to my lifeless days. Or is this just a trade of our pain? A last resort to keep ourselves safe. Do you care if I believe in a lie, when the truth is what makes me cry? Even if the same birds so wide, I think it's worth it to uncover our smiles. Give me all, baby. Give me all of you. Your madness, your brilliance, your stillness. I want you, baby. Give me all, baby. I won't run away from your passion, your fury, your worries. I want you, baby. Oh. Ooh, give me all, baby. Give me all of you. Your madness, your brilliance, your stillness. I want you, baby. Give me all, baby. I won't run away from your passion, your fury, your worries. I want you, baby. Whoa, 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 that is me. Oh, baby. Give me all of you. Your madness, your brilliance, your stillness. I want you, baby. Yes. Give me all, baby. I won't run away from your passion, your fury, your worries. I want you, baby. From your passion, your stillness, I want you, baby. Yes. From your passion, your fury, your worries, I want you, baby. Some people live for the fortune. Some people live just for the fame. And some people live for the power, yes. And some people live just to play the game. Some people think that the physical things define what's within. And I've been there before, and that life's for so full of the superficial. Some people want it all, but I don't want nothing at all. If it ain't you, baby, if I ain't got you, baby. Some people want diamond rings, some just want everything. But everything means nothing if I ain't got you, no. Some people search for the fountain, yes, that promises forever young. And some people need 3,000 roses, and that's the only way to prove you love them. Hand me the world on a silver platter, and what good would it be with no one to share, no one truly cares for me? Some people want it all, but I don't want nothing at all. If it ain't you, baby, if I ain't got you, baby. Some people want diamond rings, some just want everything. But everything means nothing if I ain't got you, some people want it all, but I don't want nothing at all. If it ain't you, baby, if I ain't got you, baby. Some people want diamond rings, some just want everything. But everything means nothing if I ain't got you. Some people want it all, but I don't want nothing at all. If it ain't you, baby, if I ain't got you, baby. Some people want diamond rings, some just want everything. But everything is nothing if I ain't got you. Everything is nothing, no. Everything is nothing, no. Everything is nothing if I ain't got you. Everything means nothing, no. Everything means nothing, yes. Everything means nothing if I ain't got you, no. Have a wonderful evening and all the best to your love and your future together.